For step one, you're going to be sewing your zipper to the top and bottom part of the front of your bag. And so you need to find pieces number 1 and 2. So you've got your smaller rectangle, which is piece number 1. And then piece number 2 is the actual pocket piece. So the zipper basically forms a pocket on the left side of the bag when you're finished. You've got piece number 1, piece number 2. This might be mesh for some of you. It might be fabric, whatever you decided to choose. And then your zipper itself. So to start, you're going to go ahead and pin the zipper onto the top part of the pocket, which is the bigger rectangle. Put this aside for now. Take the zipper. Remember, we always sew right sides together. So we're going to place the zipper face down. So the right side of the zipper is touching the right side of the fabric. We're going to line up these edges here and place some pins to hold it in place. I've placed a pin close to the top, and I've placed a second one close to the bottom just to hold the zipper so that it lines up with that edge of the pocket. Notice that I've already switched over to a zipper foot, and remember, the safety aspect of the zipper foot is to make sure that that needle clears the foot. So when I roll it up and down, I can see it does not hit the foot. That's good. If you've rolled it all the way down, just make sure you clear your threads before you put your zipper in. Now, once again, I'm going to just first move that pull out of the way and put the pin back in. Now I can start. One thing I do want to mention is you want to make sure that you've balanced your zipper evenly left and right. So notice I have a little bit of about 1 centimeter of fabric here for seam allowance, and I also left 1 centimeter here for seam allowance. So the zipper is centered over that piece. Place it in and start your seam, reversing beginning and end. When you reach the zipper pull, needle down, foot up, zip out of the way, foot back down, and finish the seam. Cut your threads. And you have sewn the first half of the zipper. Now, to place the second half, we look at this. So this is the top of the bag. Here's the zipper. The bottom part, which is the actual pocket, is going to be attached to the bottom half of the zipper. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to position it like this. Then you have your raw edge sticking out. Remember, you always want to sew right sides together. So there's the right side of the zipper. I'm going to take my mesh and lay it so that the edge is touching the edge of the zipper, just like that. This looks upside down, just like in the sample that we did before this project, but remember, all you need to do is pick it up, flip it over, and as you can see, now you have your zipper lined up with the edge of the mesh. Just like the first side, set it up so you've got a pin close to the top, a pin close to the bottom. Now you're going to just go ahead and sew that second half of the zipper. You sew it the same way you sewed the first half. When you get close to the zipper pull, remember, needle down, foot up, unzip to move the pull out of the way, foot back down, finish the seam. Cut your threads. The zipper is done. Now it's time to press. The next step in sewing your centered top stitch zipper is to press it once you've done your first round of sewing. So we have finished both sides, now it's ready to press. I always start with the zipper facing down, so you're pressing it on the wrong side first. Pull out those edges so that you don't have it bunched up in the middle. Make sure it's flat as you can get it. Bring your iron and just give it a quick press. Just a few seconds is enough. Once you've pressed that side and it's laying flat, flip it over and same, pull it out on both sides and give it a second press. Here I like to kind of go on each side. The mesh does not need a lot of steam, just a little bit, so a real quick press is all that it takes. Now you're ready for top stitching. So we have sewn it, we've pressed it. Now I would like you to top stitch on each side fairly close to the edge of the fabric, not falling off the edge, but about 2 millimeters away from that edge on each side. So we do sew both the fabric side and the mesh side. So I'll start with the fabric side. I'm going to turn it around. I always like to start a little ways in from that serging to make sure the fabric doesn't get, or the thread doesn't get caught in that serging. But I line it up, and with my zipper foot still on, I drop my needle. Remember, this is top stitching, so you want this to look accurate. So take your time, don't rush this. Forward a few. Sometimes it's a little stubborn. As you can see, I gave it a little push to get it going. If you start a little further forward, you'll have less issues with it jamming like that. Reverse. And forward to the end. Keeping it flat and constantly watching that edge to make sure you're keeping it straight. I'm going to sew the mesh side the exact same way, just lining it up at the end. And again, making sure you've got your needle fairly close to the edge of the fabric, which is the mesh. Start in a little ways from the edge, give it a little push if it needs that, and go. So here we go. When you finish, you will see that both sides of the zipper have been sewn, pressed, and top stitched. I used a different color of thread so it would be really visible. You could switch. Most of you will probably have thread that matches your fabric, so any little tiny mistakes you make here will not show. Some people like to switch over to a thread that matches their mesh to do this side of the top stitching if they don't want to see that line. You have to decide if you want a contrast or if you want your thread to match. Matching thread always hides little mistakes better. So if you're not super confident about your top stitching, go ahead and switch over to thread that matches the mesh to do that half. You don't have to switch your bobbin thread because it does not show on the right side. It's only the top thread you need to switch. And that is a sewn and top stitched zipper.